Households all over the world, including the UK, are set to suffer from the consequences of events that led us into 2022. This cost of living crisis is set to be the worst in over 60 years. And many people, including me, are concerned about this and how it's going to affect them and are looking for ways to safeguard their financial situation. Fuel prices are skyrocketing, energy costs are heating up, and inflation is, inflating. While these events are largely out of your control, there are some things that you can do to improve your financial position, even when you're worried about everything that's going on around you at the moment. In this video, I wanted to give you a broad overview of some of the contributors towards the cost of living crisis going on in the UK at the moment, and then give you some practical tips that can help you not only save money, but also make you money in this uncertain time. Before we get into it though, I want to ask you to do me a favor and hit that subscribe and like button as you enjoy the intro. First things first, if you're in a situation at the moment whereby you're severely suffering financially or even mentally as a result of the cost of living crisis, I urge you not only just to talk to your friends and family, but also to reach out to organisations such as Citizens Advice, the Debt Helpline, or Step Change. Talking to organisations like this will help you, and they can often negotiate on your behalf and mentally support you. Not everybody is going to be severely affected, but enough of us are going to be affected, so that's going to have a negative impact on our lives. When it comes to most situations in life, including personal finance, I think it's important to address mindset, because that is where everything you experience starts. Now, it's easy to feel trapped, like you have no control over what's happening. And I've not created this video to tell you how to change the world. I have, however, created this video because over the years, I'm learning more and more about the power of the individual and how that relates to your mindset. The idea that you can influence what's happening to you and the people around you. I really wanted to address this because in my journey of creating content about personal finance, every now and again I'm going to be challenged by somebody that blames everybody else but themselves for the situation. We can control what we can control. We can't control Russia waging war against the Ukraine, but we can control our spending. We can't control fuel prices, but we can control how we decide to travel. People often don't like hearing this fact because they're so stuck in the day-to-day norms of society and they can't see an alternative way of doing things. Truthfully, I don't blame people for thinking this way. Although once an alternative viewpoint or idea is put forward, a rational person should at least consider it. So to use me as an example, 2 years ago, I was the victim of a 9-to-5 mentality, stuck in a rut and certain that my destiny was already mapped out for me. I was never going to be wealthy and I'm destined for average. Things happened to me, I didn't happen to things. Fast forward then to today, and by no means am I wealthy, but I'm light years away from the person I was. And I know that I will be wealthy, I'm genuinely certain of it. But how did I have this mind shift? Well, it started with knowledge. But knowledge is nothing if you don't put any of that into practice. You can read all the books and blogs that you want about money, or watch thousands of hours here on YouTube, but if you don't do anything about it, it is pointless. The point is, you need to take action. And blaming others is not taking action, it's just passing the buck. Even if there are other people to blame, and there often is, you're not benefiting from taking that standpoint. The sooner that we accept that we can't control the energy prices and inflation, the sooner we can take action and let it affect us as little as possible. So no doubt you're going to be aware of the increase in the energy price cap. But what does that even mean? It means that as of April 2022, the maximum amount of energy suppliers are allowed to charge you for gas and electricity is going to increase by 54%, which is off the back of a 12% rise back in October 2021. Now, there are many complexities to this, and I'll leave a link below in the description if you want to read further about it. But the reality is you and I are going to be paying more for our energy bill. These graphs of the cost of wholesale gas and electricity will show you everything that you need to know. Of course, the poorest households are going to be the ones affected the most by this. However, absolutely everyone in the UK is going to be affected to some degree. People who are just about getting by month to month are going to be crippled by this. So here are 3 practical tips that can help you lower your energy bill. Firstly, check your thermostat. Turning your thermostat down by just 1 degree can save you around £65 a year. That's mad. It doesn't sound like a lot, but trust me, this is all going to build up. Obviously, don't make it freezing in your house. Lower it to a temperature that you're comfortable at. the recommended range being between 18 and 21 degrees centigrade. And if you're anything like me, you'll just go out all day, forget all about it, and let your house sit at 22, 23 degrees. Not anymore. Secondly, turn off anything you're not using. Turning your appliances like TV and washing machines off instead of leaving them on standby could save you around £40 a year. Also, you need to make sure you're turning off lights around the house if you're not using it. Even if it's just for a few seconds, it's all going to add up. One thing that I've started doing as a good way of getting around it is by putting certain lights on timers so they automatically switch off. You can't accidentally leave them on then. Also, consider changing bulbs around your house to LED lights. It's more efficient, it's going to cost less to run. Lastly, keep the heat in. As we head towards the warmer months, this seems a little bit less relevant. However, we're still in England, you never know when it's going to be cold. So make sure your house is well insulated. Windows are closed, so there's no gaps in doors and floors. And if you rent, get onto your landlord because it's going to be their responsibility, not yours. As of today, the 11th of March 2022, fuel prices are just hitting £1.70 a litre, the highest it's ever been. There are a few different things that have influenced this, but the demand for oil has gone up considerably since COVID. And now that sanctions have been placed upon Russia, who actually provide almost half of the world's oil, has caused the supply of oil to go significantly down. Both of these factors together are causing the price at the pump to be unaffordable for most. Of course, many of us need to pay for fuel for our car. Even if you have an electric car, you're going to be affected to some degree. However, I do want to challenge you to consider whether you need to use your car as much as you currently do. So I wanted to give you a couple of examples of how I personally have reduced our fuel bill recently, and I think you should consider them too. Firstly, can you plan your trips better? Everybody's lifestyle differs, I get that. But do you find yourself doing 5 trips to the supermarket every single week when you can reduce that down to 2 or even 1? By doing 1 or 2 shops a week rather than doing 4 or 5, not only will you save money on your food budget, but you're also going to save money on fuel too. And the same applies for any other non-essential trips. Secondly, ask yourself, do you need 2 cars? If you're in a household where there's 2 adults, is it absolutely necessary that you have a car each? Or has it just always been that way, so that's how you want it to continue? Obviously, if you have jobs that require you to have a car and you need to travel long distances at the same time, there's no getting around that. But for many in an age that's becoming more and more digital and remote, you're paying for the cost of a car and all the added extras like insurance, MOT and tax, just for the potential unneeded convenience of having another car. So I sold my car in the beginning of the first lockdown. I just didn't need it anymore, but I did it with the foresight that I'd buy one once everything gets back to whatever the new normal would be. But we've adapted and we realised that we don't even need it. It saved us a ton of money as a result. Lastly, can you rely on public transport more, cycle, or even walk to where you need to be? Obviously, your geographical location is going to dictate this. But if you're in a position where you can walk to a shop or cycle to the gym, do it. I personally found it quite funny. I used to drive to the gym to do cardio and then drive back. So now I just try and cycle whenever I can, whenever it's not raining outside. The next enemy to your finances at the moment, and truthfully, it always was, and it always will be, inflation. Inflation is currently sitting at over 7%. Absolute madness. This means that the value of your money, the money that you have saved, the money that you are currently earning, is worth 7% less than it was before. This alone would cause hardship to most people. But you combine that with the energy and fuel prices going up, it's a cocktail that I don't want. So how do we beat inflation? Well, a drastic increase in salary or decrease in outgoings will always help. But for most of us, it comes down to using a budget. I recently created a useful budget spreadsheet that I recommend anybody tries. The link to this will be in the description below. The truth is you need to tell your money where to go before you get paid. It's the only way you're going to have full control of your finances. The golden rule in personal finance is to spend less than you earn. Live below your means. And when times change, like they currently are, your budget needs to adapt. Closing your eyes and hoping everything's going to be okay whilst you're not looking isn't going to work. You need to grab the bull by the horns, take ownership of your money. So I think we can all agree at this point that leaving your money in a current or savings account is not the best way to grow your money, never mind just maintain its value over time. Back when interest rates were sitting at around 15%, saving your money was quite attractive. But now, the only way to do this is to invest your money. Whether it's in the stock market, property, investing in your own business, or investing in your own education. Of course, if the cost of living crisis is forcing you into hardship, investing is not your priority. Staying afloat, getting out of debt, and staying out of debt is. So above is a link to a video that I did about getting out of debts that if this applies to you, you might find useful. And if this isn't you and you're just thinking about how to grow your money at times like this, my answer will always be the same. Invest in index funds by cost averaging over time. Set aside a sum of money each month that you can afford and invest it into index funds. Regardless of the stock market conditions, be consistent and set it up to come out of your account automatically every month. The subject of investing in index funds is a huge one, and I'm not going to cover it in this video. But if you want to go back and check my previous videos out, please do. So I hope that you took something useful away from this video. And if there's anything that you're currently doing that's helping your financial situation during these uncertain times, please let me and everybody else know in the comment section below. But if there's only one thing that you take away from this video, please let it be that you walk away and do one small thing that's going to help your financial situation in the future. If this horrendous crisis that the world's currently in is the catalyst for changing your financial life, then at least something positive has occurred. Remember to subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon if you want to be notified about future videos. See you next time.